Good morning. My name is Brett Miller, and my current role is CEO of a company called Canderel. Canderel has been in business for 50 years. We're one of the largest national private real estate developers, managers, and owners, and we have a team of about 850 people across the country. Your question is with regard to the office market. And so we've seen over the last 24, 36 months a real flight to quality. And some of the major buildings, the AAA buildings, are accommodating these tenants easily, but others don't have the same amenities, don't have the same architecture, don't have the same location. And so owners of office buildings are looking at ways to capture the active tenancy by investing in these buildings, either from a capital perspective or from an experience perspective. What tenants are looking for these days, particularly with this mandate of return to office, is much more of a holistic experience rather than space. We like to say we're in the business of creating or renting an experience as opposed to just renting square footage. What drives the office market can be evaluated at a macro and a micro level. So at a macro level, of course, there's influences from economic cycles. Tenants who are signing 5 or 10-year leases need to have confidence that their businesses are in good shape and they can afford to invest. But at the micro level, in terms of driving the performance of a building, that's really about the building dynamics itself. And so is it well located? Is it well maintained? Is it well managed? Is it well amenitized? And the factors that can influence that most are really an owner who's very much in touch with their market. And so it's not just about putting out a product that's available to the general market, but catering to a particular clientele. A clientele such as professional services or engineering firms or IT firms. They all have very different needs from an occupancy perspective and also from an experience perspective. And so it really is up to the owner and their managers, or one and the same often, to push performance by catering to a specific clientele. That's what can accelerate leasing velocity. So office use and satisfaction, that's a good question because there's so many factors that come into play. Number one is the way offices are conceived are really going to change because with one, the advent of artificial intelligence, and two, the justification to get employees back to the office. It's not about the desk space. People sitting at a desk working there 8 hours straight and then going home. It's really about how they interact with their colleagues. And so how can they have an experience with regard to both the work lifestyle, and so that's conference rooms, it's cafeterias, it's quiet zones, it's meeting rooms, it's town hall spaces, it's fun spaces like ping pong tables and foosball tables and such. And then it's also beyond that, the activities that may happen in a building. So the building manager will organize a 5 to 7 cocktail, or they'll organize yoga classes at lunch, or there'll be a group that goes for a walk in the park at lunch hour. And so these are the ways that the buildings are changing and have to be supported by technology in order to allow this to happen. An example of which, for example, is if you're going to have programs for all the tenants in the buildings, well, you need some way of communicating with these tenants. So many of the large buildings have concierge apps. So an occupant in the building will have an app, and that will tell them about all the news of the day, about a lunchtime barbecue, about a yoga class is being given, and they can book that or reserve a space to park their bike. And so these are important parts of communication where technology is at play. In terms of talking specifically about the office market, there's a bifurcation in the market where the Class A buildings are in demand and they're getting filled fast, and there's really not enough space for Class A tenants. They're right across the country. But that doesn't mean the entire office market is in great health. A suburban building that's vintage 1980s, that hasn't received any investment, that has poor access from a transport perspective, is really a white elephant. And so what happens with these buildings? And so there's been a lot of articles written and research done on the conversion to residential. We know we have a lack of housing in Canada, but it's really, I would say, 1 building in 50 that can be adapted for residential conversion. It's very difficult to do because typically the floor plates of office buildings can't accommodate residential apartments. But landlords are still need to deal with this obsolete inventory. Sometimes the best solution is to knock it down and then start from scratch and build a new residential tower. Sometimes it's about mixed use, adding more retail, adding clinics, public services. It takes quite a lot of imagination. For the landlord that just sits there and says, hey, I'm going to pray and hope the tenants come and fill my building, they'll be sitting for a long time.